there is a trend right now that I really think is kind of toxic for the photo industry. And I've been seeing it a lot on Facebook groups and on different like posts and whatnot, where it's, hey, I'm busy for this day. Who would want to be my associate for $75 an hour or $100 an hour? And then you just see hundreds of people leaving comments like, I'll do it. And I have a problem with this. And the reason why is because when you really look at what an associate is, it's someone that kind of takes on representation for you. And so I think of my mother growing up. She's always been in the legal field. So she's always been with like Fitzgerald and Associates, or Montero and Finizio and Associates. She's always been part of an organization like that. And so I've always seen how important an associate really is, because it represents those names of that brand. It's not just someone that just shows up that day. It's someone that represents that brand. So when I think of any other field, any other career, the idea of making a post and being like, do you want to be my associate on this day since I'm booked, would not fly. Like if I was going to a dentist and I found out that the dentist that I had hired, was double booked. So he made a post on Facebook and just said, hey, does anyone want to be my associate for this day? And then a whole bunch of dentists just said, oh, I can do it. And he says, okay, cool. Here's how I would do it. Do it that way. And that was it. And then he wrote them a paycheck. I would back out. Like, I would not be okay with that. I would not feel comfortable putting myself in that person's hands. And I know you're thinking, oh, come on, that's a little extreme, but it's not. Like, people are spending good money on wedding photographers, and when they choose you, they're choosing what they see. They're choosing what they know you can execute. And so a lot of times what I have found out, unfortunately, with a lot of inquiries that we've gotten, is that they'll reach out to these photographers and they say that it's one of their associates, but they will never tell that couple that they are blindly trying to find someone on Facebook. If you cannot tell a couple, hey, I'm booked, but let me post on Facebook and see if someone can represent me that day, then there's a problem with what you're doing. You're not being honest. You're not being open with them. And so another problem with that is, I would really hope that what you do as a photographer takes more than just sending some random other photographer a few galleries and saying, okay, do what I do. Like, I think I would hope for what you're doing that your brand stands for more than that. That you as a photographer are way more diverse and way more intricate than just being able to send someone a gallery and them being able to reproduce it perfectly. Like, there's got to be something more. You're obviously getting hired for a reason, and it's not because your work is easily duplicated. And then when I also think of it, with an associate takes on the name. And when you do that with Facebook, it's more so like hiring a mercenary. And if you look at like a lot of things back in the day, mercenaries did it for a paycheck. Like, so when it came to actually like laying down their lives, it was like, no, I don't really believe any of this. I don't really stand for any of this. I don't really represent any of this. So no, like if it's a for sure like problem, then I'm a step back, So you got to think of it the same way with an associate. If an associate doesn't really take on your name, take on your brand, like, they're not really going to represent you in that capacity. Like, if something goes wrong or if there's a hiccup, they're not going to be able to really take that responsibility. They're not going to be able to really handle it the way that you would have. So you got to be very, very careful with this whole Facebook associate thing because it's a misrepresentation to couples, and it's also a misrepresentation of you as a brand and can be toxic for your brand. So that's my little soapbox rant. I hope you understand where I'm coming from and my heart. I truly, truly value this industry. I truly value the hard work that you guys are putting into your brand, and I do not want to see that ruined. And I also truly value the couples that we that trust us and hire us. And I don't want to see them get duped into a scenario where their wedding photos are ruined and their experience is ruined because of a hired quote-unquote Facebook associate.